Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Well, I don't know about that, but this beer is called Nowhere to Be. And it may not have anywhere to be, except in my belly. It's a gift I got from my brother Taps and Pints of the Chug World Order Black and White. It's from Outer Range. I've never had Outer Range. They're out of Colorado. So why don't we find out what they're all about and work through that little maze of sorts on the can together right after the theme song. Welcome into the Midland Studio as per usual with your host Nutmeg 2 Palmetto. Nowhere to be. I'm glad none of you have nowhere to be. That's not exactly good grammar, but it is what it is. Because you're sitting here with me as we're gonna tap this open. Find out what it's all about. Speaking of tap, I got this from my brother Taps and Pints out of the Chug World Order Black and White. Right there. CWO for life, baby. It's a stout, and it took me longer than I care to admit to find out what style it was on the can, even though it says it right there. I did eventually find out it was a stout, and I had to switch the glass out real quick. Stouts are your thing, and you want some more, work your way down the comments. The first one pinned has a link to a playlist of the other stouts I reviewed on the channel in the past, so work through that on your leisure. If what I said about this one tantalizes your fantasies and you want to see more. So this one, fortunately, there's really nothing on Untapped. Actually, there's really nothing. There is literally nothing. There is no bio whatsoever. And I'm thinking that, I'll get into it in a second, I'm thinking that it's because this beer has a particular cause associated with it, so maybe that just wasn't something that was a recurring beer, so they didn't bother to, weren't hustled to make a page for it. But it's from Outer Range. I've never had Outer Range before. They are a brewery out of Colorado. ABV, the Untapped says 5.5. Can also says 5.5. Outer Range is out of Frisco, Colorado. It's not a huge sample size of check-ins. It's not the worst. 85 total, 84 unique, 75 ranked. So it's a pretty small sample size, but it's not like a couple others I've done in the past, which are like 30, 20, 40, 50. So it's at least getting close to 100. So it's not exactly, like I said, not a big sample size, but at least it's something. And of those 75 rankings, it got a 3.77 average. So that's pretty solid, especially for a stout, which a lot of times stouts, they all kind of just mesh together and all taste the same, right? Yeah, unless they have like funky adjuncts, which at a certain point, you want stouts every funky adjuncts because they add something, a little more depth to it. So Outer Range, Colorado Rockies, there's a saying above their name, leave the life below. So that's probably some kind of a callback to being up in the mountains and going for a hike and enjoying nature and that sort of thing. The name of the beer and the style are on the side. I wasn't expecting that to be there. Okay, don't judge me. And the logo is a very colorful kind of maze-like pattern on the front. So there's not a ton on the can other than the ABV. Brewed and packaged by Outer Range, outerrange.com, at Outer Range Brewing Company on Instagram. There is a little note here, pledge 1%. I'm guessing that's the website, but I can't read that, but the website is right again next to it. Pledge 1%. We proudly donate 1% of our profit, equity, product, time. Oh, that's supposed to all be one consistent thought, I guess. We proudly donate 1% of our profit, equity, product, and time to the Summit Foundation, summitfoundation.org. So it's not just this particular beer. I guess that's a cause near and dear to the brewery's heart. They'll just, that they consistently donate to. Now, I did look up the Summit Foundation, Soul of the Summit. I looked up their mission, or what I think is their mission. Your local community foundation. There's a reason we are known as the, quote, Soul of the Summit. For over 35 years, we have been the trusted partner of supporting the entire Summit County community and providing strong leadership to address the most pressing community needs. The Summit Foundation is a trusted local community foundation providing leadership and resources to assist local working families resolve critical community issues and preserve the quality of life we all enjoy in our beautiful mountains. We could not do this critical work without the generosity of our caring donors. That's one of them. By supporting the Summit Foundation, you are making a difference in the community you love, both now and for years to come. And there's several pictures here. One's a classroom. One's looks like some gentlemen that are building a log cabin, or at least the foundation to a home. I guess those aren't logs. Yeah, they're not logs. They're building a foundation to a home, or some other kind of retaining wall, something like that. Then there's a gentleman teaching a young girl how to play bass. The bass is bigger than her. And then there's another individual carrying a little tray of greenery, plants or vegetables, flowers, whatever they may be, across a greenhouse. So that's pretty cool. A lot of community service there, a building, extracurricular education, and of course some vegetation. So that's pretty cool. So why do you say we find out what Outer Range is all about as they brew beer in support of their community? Not wasting more time, crank this open. Got a fairly, although there wasn't too much left in the can, burping the baby, there wasn't too much left in the can to create that big head. I mean, it had a nice frothy head when I hard poured it, but the top off is less than a finger. It's a nice creamy aesthetic. It's a cookie dough type of color. Hold that up. It's got a decent little froth to it. I mean, the beer is certainly very dark. I'm gonna hold it. When I poured it, I saw some brown, but I'm holding it up to the light now, and there's not a whole lot of brown coming through around the edges. It's pretty deep, rich, dark black. Although it was very brown when I poured it. There's that. Let's get the nose, because I've already rambled enough in this. It has that traditional roastiness that you expect from a stout, but it's not super strong. It's not overpowering. It's not like, oh, roast bomb, you know. Doesn't remind you of coffee. I won't say it reminds you of chocolate, but it definitely reminds you a little more of chocolate than coffee. So that's a promising thing, because I mean, I don't mind the coffee aroma, even though I don't drink coffee, but I much rather would prefer it to smell and taste like chocolate than coffee. So let's find out what it tastes like. Speaking of which, being right with this.
Yeah, let's talk about this one.
So that's a type of stout. Now, like, how many times do you have a stout? And I like what a stout tastes like. Like, I'm never gonna speak downward about a stout. I like the maltiness. I like the roastiness. Or the subtle maltiness kind of hidden. I like the roastiness. I like the low chocolate scent. But this one, it has all that, but it's a little bit different. And it's hard to make something so traditional that people don't want you to make derivatives from very often stand out a little different. This one, like, it has those malty roasty characters, but they're so like diminished that they don't take over the flavor. This one, it's like kind of coal up front and dark chocolate on the back. Like, it has a very has like a crisp carbonated kind of mouthfeel, and then you start to get the chocolate a little bit, but then it really comes through more on the back, on the finish, and that's good. Like it's all the traditional notes are there, but there's just something that like that when you can like pick out the chocolate flavor and identify whether it's more milk chocolate, more dark chocolate, whatever the case may be. To me, that's like where stouts kind of separate themselves. Because it's not just a bunch of generic flavors that you associate with a particular style. Like, how many New England IPAs can you drink before you get tired of them? And it's just piney, hoppy, juicy, orange, citrus. You know, all the same profiles over and over and over again. There's no like real elevation to it. You know, and then of course there's a few breweries out there that separate themselves and they to make a little extra. You know, they elevated something to, you know, so it's not it's not so much of this traditional type of flavor that you're used to drinking so much of, you're bored of. You know, so stouts can get in the same vein too, because there's so many qualities of stout, they're just the same thing over and over and over again. So this is that, but it's just different enough to set it apart and make it a little memorable. If you like what I said on that one, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so exactly when the videos like this drop. If you want to recommend a beer to me, send me a beer, or just chit-chat me up and make a new friend, email me nutmeg2palmetto@gmail.com. If you want to see more stouts, you know what to do. First comment pinned below is a link to a playlist of the other stouts I've done in the past. And of course, if you want the rest of my day-to-day nonsense, follow me on my social media channels, TikTok and Instagram @nutmeg2palmetto. For other taps, this was very, very solid offering. Cheers, folks. I'll see you next time.